Welcome to Bullets Nation, the podcast by Bullets fans for Bullets fans. I'm your host, Tracy Malone, a Bullets member since we came back into the league 10 years ago. In sporting teams, players change, coaches change, and staff move on. We don't, Bullets fans, we're the constant. We've been here since the early days and we'll still be here when the next banner goes up. This is our space to talk about our team at length. No 30-second hot takes. We're here for real hoops chat. We love this club. We argue, we cheer, we ride every run, and we carry every loss. So settle in and suit up. If you're Bullets family, you're at home here. This is Bullets Nation. Let's tip it off today, as always, by welcoming my co-hosts, Scott Husband and Cameron Porluck.
Hi, everyone.
Hello there. Always good to see you both.
Yeah, good to be back. We've had some fun tech things going on this morning, so we're just crossing our fingers and hope you all can see this, really. Okay, let's look at engagement. First of all, on YouTube, we're getting some great things in YouTube as always, and thank you for everyone who comments in there. It's always great, and I always reply to all the comments in there as soon as I see them. We had some great questions. Monday Madness this week. You get to bring back one Bullets tradition from any era. What are you reviving? This was really cool. This is where it's great to hear from people who have been around like you guys for a long time. Brendan Lowe says live band, live marching band and or drumline at every game. I think we had them once at Nissan Arena and we used to have them more often at South Bank. Nothing against the way the music is currently, but the live element elevates it, I agree. And having them walking around performing pre-game in the foyer and courtyard builds excitement. I agree. I think it's a great idea. Mort White wants to bring back ownership that cares and knows about basketball and can find Brisbane on a world map because they live here in Australia. I like that one, Mort. J.R. Murray wants to bring back winning from the curl era. And there were some good comments that went after that. So there's a lot of people who came in to say exactly the same thing. Chris Anderson, game program from the 80s and 90s. I used to collect them as a kid, and Brian Curl used to roll one up and hold it every game. And so they had these when we were at South Bank, because I remember them having them, and I know why they got rid of them as well. And it was the cost. It was too much added to the game day experience, and they couldn't do it. Or wouldn't do it or couldn't continue doing it. But it is great because your niece bought some to the last home game or two home games ago.
She did, and Mum actually gave me a box of them at the last game as well. So that I was actually looking through them all just a couple of days ago. Flicking through all of them and seeing all the old pictures and players. And that's where I think I sent you a picture of Brendan Joyce. I forgot that he was a part of the team at one point in time.
Yeah, that's great, that one.
Yeah. So
it's great. And I just love having it there. I used to love reading about, where did they come from? Where have they played before? What height are they? And also seeing the opposition because I'm like, who's that? They're a bit awesome. And I get to read it right in front of me. So it does actually help engage with the game. Maybe it's something they'll consider. Damien Torrey remembers the gold coin donation to shoot on the court at halftime. It would need to go up a little bit more than a gold coin, but I think it's a great idea. And I think that went to a charity. Sue wants Boondall regularly rocking 10,000 people. That place was pumping. Bars will open afterwards and the players would attend and the coach would give us a speech about the game and present the game MVP. How awesome would that be?
Yeah, I think that was one of my suggestions in our membership episode we did right at the start.
Because Perth do something similar now, but you had the memories of BEC.
Yeah, it was a great experience. I can still remember shaking Shane Heal's hand for the first time, lined up, waiting to go in there. So watching the players come through, getting to shake his hand, and then managing to get in afterwards and stand there and listen to them talk about the game. Just some great memories.
Yeah, and Sue was saying they even did it when they moved to the Brisbane Convention Centre.
Yes, yeah. I've got photos of me and the players, my niece and the players. It was just always a great photo opportunity and to hear from the coach and players after the game.
It's really interesting to me that clubs, and we can't blame current administration because it hasn't been here for a very long time, and it hasn't been here since we came back into the league. But it's really interesting how much people are moving away from building that community, but they're wanting the sense of community. So they're wanting a sense of community, but they're not building it by doing things where we have access. So it's a real shame. Yeah, Charles Webley remembers players would shower and change, then come upstairs near the lift and be greeted by all the supporters. The bar was open after the game. You could have a drink, waiting for the traffic to clear. Yeah.
Yeah, I think cost is a big fact in that these days in keeping that place open that long. I think Bert will
the
charge.
venue hire.
The venue hire is a big play in that.
Yeah, but I wonder though, because you're only keeping one room open, so your cleaners can still get in and do the court and everything. You move, if you corral people to one space, lots of people would just leave anyway, even if it's like members only or something like that.
Yeah, which is what it was. It was members only.
Yeah, I think it needs to be that. Yeah. Danny wants consistency of keeping players and not letting them walk, particularly imports. I think we're all in agreement of that now. And it's that really double-edged sword. Great imports. Let's recruit well and keep the players, because our recruiting has been not so great over the years. And if we have recruited somebody great, we seem to have let them go and then they look great with somebody else. So
I mean,
let's
I
get
hear
our
him
front office
on that, but it's just so much tougher in the current market. Imports have so many other options, Europe, Asia, or G League and what have you. And it takes a Bryce Cotton or a Casey Prather or someone like that to actually want to stay here and call it home.
Yeah, which a lot of Americans are doing. We really have that. There's some who come out and they're in G League, but not really going to make it up there to the NBA. And they come out here and they're like, I get this lifestyle. What? This place is amazing. The things I've heard from families of imports, it's cleaner, it's safer, the food's healthier, the weather's better. There's so many pluses
Get
to
paid
live
on
here in
time.
Australia. Yeah, get paid on time consistently. Yeah. And they get to have teams built around them as well. So I think there's a lot to go with.
Might have been Matt Hurt, who was at the Phoenix, had been in Italy or something, and been over a month since he'd last been paid or something, which
Saw that. Yeah, I think he's
maybe,
going to Turkey now, isn't he?
yeah.
Given up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nicole Penman. I can remember when Boondle sold out every seat for every game, and one time they sold standing courtside tickets, which would now be considered a hazard. Raw, who are also losing right now, did the best thing and took their game during school holidays to KO Stadium. Sold it out. That holds 10,000. The club was even calling members to see if they were attending, and if not, they would like to sell their seats.
That's in Redcliffe for anyone who wasn't sure. That's
Yeah.
the Redcliffe Dolphins home ground in the Host Plus Cup, Queensland Rugby League.
Yeah, she wants to see people at games. It's really sad to see so many empty seats, but the cost is a huge thing nowadays. She's compared Raw tickets to Bullets tickets. So a platinum ticket at a Raw game is $54, and I'm guessing platinum would be like courtside, so it's 119 is the cheapest courtside seat. Those are often around 300 as well. Black at Raw is $40, platinum is $99. Orange is $32 for the Raw. Gold for us is $65. The Den is $32 for Raw tickets. Maroon is $25, and we've got the Silver, which is the nosebleed. That's $35. We've got a bit of work to do in that area, I think.
Yeah.
I think the prices are way too high for the size of the stadium that we've got and the amount of people that are coming. Something's got to give. And most of us as members were very clear. It's like we're paying more money to be further away from the court at a venue that is not better than the one we were just at, in our opinion. So it's,
Just a little bit of context with the Raw and other teams that play at Suncorp. And in terms of the decision they have to make regarding venue selection or availability, I heard someone say that, like, for the Raw and also the Queensland Reds and Rugby Union, is that it's somewhere around 10,000 crowd figure is where they break even. And obviously the Raw have made the choice that some games they're forecasting perhaps not as big a crowd at Suncorp, or that they make the choice to go to KO Stadium in Redcliffe, and it's a good choice for them. I don't think the Bullets really have options the way those other sporting teams do, though.
Yeah, agreed. And I don't think they have to have a massive reduction, but I think there really needs to be a reduction on membership next year. They're losing sponsors, they're losing all kinds of things. Hopefully, if we get a GM of basketball and a new CEO who is a little focused on basketball, then we might be able to make some interesting decisions
An actual
there.
basketball person.
Yeah, wouldn't that be fun? Judy came in and said banners and posters being allowed into the BEC. The big posters coming now. If you took that poster now, because Cara and Courtney tried to take one in and they had to cut it down the middle. And that's a BEC rule, not a Bullets rule. I'm sure they would love it being there. But this is where the BEC is one of those venues that it's like, what even?
Yeah.
Bag smaller than A4. What?
Yeah.
Is it even 4? Sometimes I have to get my water bottle checked if it's actually water. It's like, it could be vodka. I don't drink, but you don't know. Really? What are you going to do about it? David McDonald wants 80s and 90s ticket prices. So that was a great one. A great one. I love that it gets us talking, which is amazing. I did ask about Will Weaver. We're going to talk about Will Weaver extensively towards the end of the podcast and our thoughts on him. But there was some really good thoughts about him. And our Friday fan debate, which home game has had the best atmosphere so far? And this one was pretty cool too. So mine was kind of Halloween for the dress up and just how much fun the day was, and watch Brendan walking around doing his thing and his dress up it was so much fun. But you cannot go past that teddy bear toss and Johnny just drama rewriting the equilibrium of my ears were happy. And Brendan said either Christmas or United games, Mort White. There were loads of us, Teddy Toss and the Grinch into Johnny game without question. Teddy Bear Toss was just coming in hard. Danny said the first home game, it was a full house. It wasn't, but it was our highest. So it certainly, a full house would be 10,000. I think it got to 7, that one. So It was a great crowd. Ben, and there were a few people with the United game, that comeback versus United before our loss was unreal. Oh, so that was the one before the last one.
Yeah.
This season. Teddy Toss, Johnny Drama. Kane says none. All right, Kane. Adelaide or United. For D, Nikki Louise, Johnny's first game. Belinda, Teddy Toss. With every point scored going to charity. That's cool. Love having Johnny Drama back and being reunited with Johnny Drama, says Lisa. Yeah, that was a great one. And that's it. I always love to hear what other people are thinking. Is that similar for you guys?
I missed out on the Teddy Toss game, so that's a bit of a shame for me because I always look forward to that game now. I do the United one with Jalen Adams going on that tear towards the end and we getting within a margin, which is probably the one for me so far this season.
How about you, Scott?
Yeah, maybe that United game that Cam's talking about.
Yep. All right. I need to give a shout out, but because we know that I suck at names, this person told me their name and it literally went in one ear and it was gone out the other ear just like that. That's how fast it went. It's an amazing person who magically, all the thousands of people in the BEC that turn up to these games every home game, and he sits in the same row as me. He didn't know he sits in the same row as me, and I didn't know who he was either, but he magically walked up to me at the game and said, do you know how in the Bullet supporters group you were talking about the members round? Nicole had put up a post about the members round and there were a few of us going, it was great, and some of us going, it wasn't great, and everyone talked about why. I put up, I'm still waiting for the photos of when I received this shirt. When I received this shirt from Aaron Baines, it was his first time back in the NBL and I got his playing shirt. And they took photos and I didn't take any photos because I thought they're taking professional photos, so I don't need them. And that was years ago and I'd asked for the photos and it just never came. And he walked up to me and said, you know how you wanted those photos? And I hadn't talked about it on the podcast anything. So what a legend. And he handed me this little drive and he said, that's all of them.
Nice.
So if anyone else, there is somebody who sits just up next to me, I saw she was in it. So I was, I wonder if you got the photos, because I've got the photos for all of that now. So if you are somebody listening and you did not get the photos of that jersey presentation, I've got the lot. So just message me and I will get them to you and I will share them around with everyone. So thank you. Thank you to
What
the
a
man
legend.
whose face I can
Great
see
job.
and his name is gone to that place where names go. All right, on to basketball. We played Adelaide at home last Sunday. So this time last week, we were gearing up for a game. The score was Adelaide 97 to Brisbane 86. The crowd on that day was 5,406 people. So was that our second game of the season that would have gone past Nissan Arena, or maybe third?
I think third. I think we've had at
Yeah.
least two others.
Yeah. So the game day experience, I don't have the need to talk about it that much anymore, because look at that. Look what happens. Dancing's still not great. They put kids out there. Kids are great, but I just think that whole thing needs to tidy up next season. Weird things happen with a Jumbotron. There is a Jumbotron issue or a screens issue every game. So I think they've got some little gremlins in their system or something. Because we had the Jumbotron and we started with stats and all the stats were there and I was very happy. And then it went to TV coverage without the scores and the stats up on the main Jumbotron, but we kept our stats on the outside screens. So I was just very confused.
Yeah, it was a little frustrating. I loved being able to watch the replays. I thought that was great because vision impaired slightly, so I couldn't really see everything. Being able to catch some of that on replay was great. But then losing those stats for me was also annoying. I am very much a stats person. I just hope that they can figure out how to keep both at the same time.
Yeah.
Work
Yeah.
those
Because I was
gremlins
like,
out.
yeah. It's like, yay, we're getting replays. I can't even see the score on that screen now. I've either got to duck to the underneath screen and just see the score there or look to the sides for the score, because it
Yeah.
wasn't even on the Jumbotron. So it was all a little bit strange.
Find the manual guys or something.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I just can't believe it's that hard, because so we can have on our screens, I have been told, everything that they put on an NBL broadcast. So we had the TV, what was happening on the TV on the Jumbotron, but without even a score line. So we didn't even get what was on the TV, because the TV has at least the running score going there. We didn't even get that. Yeah, it was very strange. I can see they're trying. I don't know if they need a little bit of an upgrade in that area, in people or tech. I don't know. But in this game, we won the first quarter. What I really loved, I looked at the foul count at the end of that quarter and I was like, 3 fouls to 2. Thank you, refs. You let them play. I actually let them play. Adelaide was shooting really well. And I did think, I was looking at Smack's defense and I was thinking, he is exceptional today. Oh my God, he is locked in and he is brilliant. God, I hope he can sustain this, were my thoughts. And the answer to my thought was no. He went off limping out the back and it looked like he'd injured his calf. I thought it might have been his plantar fasciitis playing up. And I was like, God, I hope he's just going out for an injection and coming back and he's just flared that somehow. But no, then he came limping back out and he had ice on his calf. And it's such a shame because his body's making it really hard to sign him next season.
Yeah, so I wonder, is it a case of him, especially at the moment, pushing himself too hard while probably still not back at 100% fitness? And so therefore it snowballs and you wind up continuing to injure yourself. Because I'd like to give him one more season, but coming off the bench to see if he can actually stay healthy.
Trouble is, Cam, it only takes an injury to someone else that he suddenly comes from the long end of the bench to closer to, and no one really knows the answer to if he's pushing himself too hard or if there's another reason. And in terms of, his signability, Trace, thought I heard someone say that there's another year in his contract, but it's an option. So I need to
It's
confirm.
mutual. It's a
So
mutual
it's not the
option.
club option, it's a mutual
No,
option.
it's mutual. Yeah.
So if either party decides,
Yeah.
no thanks, then that could be Anyway, that's for another discussion for some other time down the track.
Yeah, and for me, I would find it really hard to sign him based on this season. This is injury.
From last season, which
Yeah,
makes it
and
even
last
more
season it was one
difficult.
injury that kept him out for a long time, and it was a big one with
Shoulder.
that shoulder. But this year, his lower half is
It was ankle and then calf, was it?
ankle, then plantar fasciitis, and now calf. So that shows me that's a body that's under distress and can't take that kind of intensity for a long period of time, because
Not
he went
able
down in
to
the
manage
first
load.
quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is unable to manage load in the way that it is. We just can't have him as a number one defensive player in the team. Absolutely not. He needs to be third.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of only having just him, but then when he's injured, we have to break Nordo's body, and it goes beyond what Nordo's body should have to do as a veteran in the league at his age. I love Smack, and if I could wave a magic wand, I would say I want him and just no injuries, thanks. But you have to go with what you've got in front of you, and his body's showing us that it can't handle that kind of pressure and load. But I would argue that the load wasn't massive. A first quarter injury.
Maybe there's a sweet spot in terms of number of minutes that is somewhat lower than whatever he's been playing since his return. That is, I don't know, 10 minutes per game. But then as soon as someone else gets injured, we need
he's getting
another body to
minutes.
play more minutes.
Yeah. I just can't see how it's sustainable for a team that wants to be pushing at the pointy end of the season. I just can't see it. I want him there, but I don't know how to do that.
It's just hard to see it.
Yeah. So our defense was excellent in this game. I actually saw it. Mort came up to have a chat, and I'm like, did you see the elastic band? I saw the elastic band. I came up to talk about the elastic band defense. We actually saw it. I saw them moving, and it was so beautiful to watch. We were doubling Bryce, and their coverages were just excellent from there. Because what I see so much, which is our downfall offensively, is because other teams double our good players, but then they cover those passes. The coverages outside of that double are excellent, and we just haven't been anywhere close. And in this game, we were so good that I just saw them. So there was a moment with 1:40 to go, because I came home and I watched the replay twice because I was so happy with the game, even though we lost. 1:40 to go in the second, and the defense was so locked in that the ball went to Bryce, and 4 of our players moved to him and then adjusted into lanes. So he caught the ball and 4 players converged, and then quickly 2 stayed and 2 covered, and it was just so good. I was like, they were so locked in.
Yeah, and you've got to ask why they've not been able to do this all season. We were down bodies this game again, so we can't use our injuries as an excuse. So is it a case of the players not buying into the previous head coach and so just weren't listening, or they're now playing for their jobs next season, they're locked in, or were they not practicing team defense previously?
The first thing, Cam, that pops in my head is, coaching makes a huge difference, but like you said, there is a bit of playing for a next potential contract as well. So it's column A, column B, but a huge part of column A.
The biggest thing I've learned this year, which has made me see the game totally differently, is that professional basketball players in the NBL does not mean I will try 100% and listen to my coach and do what is asked of them all of the time, unless your name's Mitch Norton. He is going to give you 100%, and he is going to execute the game plan. And he is a very high basketball IQ person. And after talking with Steve Woodbury, that's where the light came on for me. I have new eyes on the game because he helped me to see the lack of actual athletes, serious athletes within the NBL, and especially in our team. In our team, it's that lack of actual athletes is high, and a lack of ability to go out and not be ridden by the coach to get the desired result is very high. Other than Nordo, a lot of these players need to be ridden, and I'll go into that in a little bit later as well, because that's what I saw and it was great.
So
and
the
this is where
need to be
recruiting
ridden by
comes
the
in.
coach is high.
Yeah, the need to be ridden by the coach is high. They need to be ridden by the coach. And if we didn't have a coach, Nordo would just do it anyway. Everyone else would probably just go, yeah, we'll just shoot threes and see what happens, hey? So we need to drop the narrative, in my opinion, when it comes to recruiting, around signing players with championship experience. I'm completely against it now. We need to sign players with work ethic and desire. And I think this is where Forty made his career in Cairns early on as a great coach, because he was signing the fringe guys and giving them a shot. And they had this deep desire because they sat a long way down the bench and never got the time that they could and never got to get into the flow of their game. They were really hungry. So you could actually argue that championship experience is worse, because when you get a championship, you've got that complacency that comes from that release and relief of, oh, I've got a championship under my belt now. Whereas people down here who are hungry haven't reached that pinnacle yet. So their work ethic is going to be very different. I think we need to flip that in our recruiting.
It's food for thought, for sure.
Yep.
Even Justin Shaw, why'd you sign Jared Bairstow? He's got championship experience. Yeah, but he's way down the end of the bench. Whatever. But it's a bit of a cliche, like you say, Tracy, and talk is cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it's just the Bullets either. I think there's
No, it's not.
quite a
Yeah.
few teams, like you look at Illawarra this season and where they are after winning that championship. You can see that drive and passion has dropped off because they've won that championship.
Yep.
And how hard it is to repeat.
Yeah.
Yep. Agreed. Okay, back to the game. Early in the second quarter, we had Maldonado, Holt, Taylor on 6 each, and Nordo had 4 and Dukas was on 3. So I really liked this, that we were sharing the ball around and sharing the scoring, which showed no one was carrying the load by themselves. Quarter by quarter, our score, we scored 20, they scored 15. It was like, take a photo of the scoreboard. We might not see that again. In the second quarter, we scored 25, they scored 23. So the whole first half, we outscored them. Quarter 3, we scored 20, they scored 30. And in the fourth quarter, we scored 21, they scored 29. We did good for a half. And then we were all worried going, what's going to happen? Because Bryce Cotton's about to have a half time and come out and take over the game himself. Yeah, which is why it's so great having a player like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I definitely like having the 4 players or 5 players or like everyone sharing the ball around. I just feel like we still need that someone who can step up and be that go-to person, especially in close games. We just need someone who can get over that 20 points per game that was giving us with that same sort of consistency.
Yep, absolutely. I agree 100%. And I like it for this game because I knew we didn't have that. And I knew that nobody could step into that role with the amount of bodies that we had as well. Like we couldn't drain a player in that way in this, even though Terry Taylor played a lot of minutes, which I'll get to in a sec as well. But what I loved is that they were coached well enough that they knew they couldn't do that and didn't have that. And so they made sure everyone was getting their shots up. We're a well-coached team this game because of that reason. We don't have the man to go out and give us 30. My player of the game was Maldonado. What a great improvement he made in his 29 minutes. He had 16 points, 4 of 13 from the field. So he shot at 30.77%. He was 0 from 4 at the 3-point line. I don't care. He made 8 from 9 of his free throws, Cam. You'll be happy with that?
I'm very happy. I was counting them.
Yeah. He had 1 rebound, 9 assists, 3 turnovers, 2 steals, and he was a -6, which didn't really matter. It was his assists and ability to get to the free throw line that made him my MVP. So thank you to Southeast Melbourne for letting him go. We really did need him.
Yeah, I agree. He's just definitely our player of the game, and he's exactly what we've been needing. His court vision and his passing with an ability to get his feet in the paint and put pressure at that rim. It felt like we've been missing that for a while. And then with the decent free throw or the excellent free throw shooting on top of that just makes that even better. And he was getting the ball to Holt in the right spot. Imagine what he might be able to do with Tyrell out there and getting that ball to him up high. That's what I saw a lot of.
Yep, that was going through my head.
100%. Yeah, like you said, Tracy, they were well coached. They weren't out coached, only in as much as Mike Wells made some adjustments at halftime. We lost smack early on, And we played 2 good quarters. We're down on bodies, but Mike Wells, for all the criticism he gets, he just went to his troops, okay, listen, guys, we need to change this and this, yada, yada, etc. Maldonado was also the standout for me with the 9 assists. That was the stat that jumped out, and his facilitating. 4 of 13 from the field. I'll put it down to just a few cobwebs. Thanks for nothing, Immigration Department. Yeah, cobwebs from just missing a couple of games.
Yeah, and his first time in at the Bullets and all the things. Yeah,
No-
so
no
there was
training.
nothing that concerned me about his game at all. He was my player of the game. What was really interesting when I was watching the replay was that Banger was saying that Maldonado plays like DMAC did. So he's the perfect player for DMAC to coach, as he can put him in the right position to lead this team. So I thought that was really interesting as well, coming from the man himself.
Yeah, he's the kind of point guard the Bullets need. And a lot of people debate, well, is a player a point guard or not, or no, he's not because of whatever. And some people will say assist numbers indicate someone is. Admittedly, it's a small sample size, but I liked what I saw in terms of what facilitating he was doing and just the way he was combining with likes of Holt. And like Cam said, we hope that in the near future there'll be an opportunity to combine with Tyrell, but we just don't know when that's going to happen.
Yeah, that's right. And I think we can see why a point guard is so important. And that's what I'm seeing consistently in the NBL now. So with what happens when Jaron Riley gets injured, they go from an elite to scrappy.
Yeah.
And can we get it done with the bodies we've got on the floor? They are so important. Just as a big man is important, they're important as well. But I am absolutely excited to see Tyrell come back into this lineup. And it's all I was thinking about that game. It's, oh my God. Just maybe this is a combination we've been hoping for this season, that somebody can help him shine, because there's people heaping it on Tyrell saying he's just not good enough. It's no, you put a great point guard in there and then I'll watch his game and then I'll tell you if I think he's still not good enough.
Just to add to when I mentioned, liked what I saw with his facilitating. Also his handle. I like his handle. Like it was
I like
tidy.
his height as well as his
Yeah, good
handle.
size.
Like he's got all the
Rucker
things.
was talking about his size as well.
Yeah.
Yep. So Alex Dukas had 32 minutes in this game, and boy, did he have a license to shoot. And he took that license and said, thank you very much. He had 18 points, 5 from 14 in the field. So he shot at 35.71%. From the 3-point line, he was 4 from 13. So he was at 30.77%. He was at 4 from 4 at the free throw line. 3 rebounds, 1 turnover, and he was a -5 for the game. But I did think that really showed all that he did.
I've been saying all season that he's the type of player that needs to get his shots up for him to be effective. And we've just needed to find him more good looks. I think we're starting to do that. And he's been told to obviously, if you're free, shoot it. So it's great to see him putting them up, and hopefully more of them will start to fall as they find the back of the net.
He's definitely someone who should be told, if you're open, shoot it. And he's the kind of player that has a better chance of being more productive offensively, especially if there's an on-court general that finds him in the right spot, like Maldonado did at certain points in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd like that percentage to go up a wee bit, but the more he shoots, the more it will go up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a good game had by him. And let's look at the difference of being coached by a point guard, people. The premier guard in the league, in his time, he knows the importance of shooters shoot. And sometimes there are coaches that forget that shooters shoot. And it's when Terry Taylor first came in, he was taking a whole bunch of shots, but then all of a sudden he stopped taking shots. I'm like, dude, you need to be getting up 40 shots a game. You need to be shooting because you're an import. Get the shots up. And yeah, I really think it makes a massive difference. So shooters need to shoot to stay in the game, keep their bodies loose, just keep getting them up.
Yeah.
Action man Holt, in his 25 and a half minutes, he had 15 points. He was 6 of 9 from the field, shooting at 66.67%. He's putting out big man numbers, and I like it. 3 from 4, 3 free throws, which is excellent. He had 7 rebounds. 4 of those were offensive. He had 1 turnover, 2 steals, and 1 block. So I thought his stats were great. He was a minus 19, and this is the good argument for the plus minus, not landing correctly, but he was the highest effort player. So you look at the plus minus, and next to it is the effort, where all the stats come in, a lot more things come in. And so he was our highest effort player. So it balanced itself out in that stat. He looks so much better with Maldonado, able to drop some dimes into him and to know where to put that ball. He held his own at the 5. He did. And I will argue this till I'm blue in the face. I can't help still wanting him to be at the 4. When I see Isaac Humphries and then I see Rakocevic playing the 5 for Adelaide, we can have that plus. Like, what if we got another 5 and then put Holt at the 4, and now we're starting to form a team where we will not lose the rebound count, where we have a chance of offensive rebounds a lot better. So I like it a lot more.
He's been the one big positive for me this season. Still don't think he is at full fitness quite yet.
With that hip.
Yeah, with that hip and being out for that time. He looked gassed quite early on and just looked like sweat just dripping from him quite early on as well. And so I'm hoping when he gets to that level of fitness, I believe he'll be able to hold his own against players like Ice and Rakocevic. He's definitely a lot more athletic than I thought he would be, but I also do think that fitness is an issue, but he's a touch heavier than what I think he usually is, and that's all because of that hip surgery. Yeah, I think he can get there. I think he'll hold his own at that 5.
Yeah. In the last presser before this game, DMAC said he needed to talk to the imports, and that he did talk to the imports because he said we need more from them. And he told them that we need them to be shooting and scoring, which is again why I love a guard coming in and being a coach, because he has the license to say you got to get them up. And I think it was Leonard Copeland, which of course him and Gazy never walked away from a shot. He said you can't score points that you never shoot. It's not possible. So get them up there. Terry Taylor played the most minutes. He played 37 and a half minutes. He had 18 points. He was 9 from 19 in the field. He was 0 from 4 at the 3-point line, and he missed both of his free throw attempts. So there's a few disappointments in there from Terry, but I don't think he should stop.
No.
It just needs a bit of a spell.
Yeah. Those free throws came at such a crucial time as well, which was so unfortunate. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But he had 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 0 turnovers, which is a first for him. Well done.
Yeah, that's
2
great.
steals. And he was a minus 18 in plus minus and an 18 for efficiency. So it just zeroed him out. The one thing I was disappointed to see, again, Divas only shot 1 3-pointer. He was out there for 20 minutes. So you might think, oh, but he was barely there. So he played 20 minutes of that game and he shot 1 3-pointer and he got it in, I think. And I want him shooting more. I just want him shooting more.
Yeah. Once again, he's just one of those guys that when they're out there, we need to find them more shots. It's the same for Murray when he's playing. You just need to find those guys their shots and get them taking more. I think we need those types of players scoring that little bit more just to push us up that little bit extra.
Yeah, good call, Cam. I'm looking forward to seeing how Murray will combine with Maldonado as well, getting found in the right spots. But I have a question in terms of Divas, particularly Tracy, you mentioned that he shot 1 3-pointers. Is it unselfishness or is it just lack of number of possessions and lack of opportunities just for the whole team?
I think it's maybe a bit of both, but this is again where a great point guard makes a difference. So Jason Kidd, if you listen to him in podcasts and things, when he's dribbling down the court, he's not just thinking about what play do I run.
Yeah,
he's thinking about who's here, who's had shots, who's hot, who's not, who do I need to get involved in the game? Yep. That's where the point guard needs to come into it, in my opinion, 100%. And needs to go, Deeves is hot. He's such a great shooter. Has he even had a shot? Let's run something for him.
Yeah. I think that goes into, what's a point guard? Oh, you look at the assist numbers, getting the ball over halfway. For me, it's a floor general. A point guard for me is a floor general.
Yeah.
So assists like facilitating, but also get it over halfway, because if, someone coached by Josh King like the Phoenix is pressing like you're inbounding from the baseline and they're right in your face. And once you inbound, they can get it over halfway. There's that. And there's also the handling. And there's who should I be looking for to get the shot, like Jace was saying.
Yep, absolutely. So needs to really be over the whole team whilst doing mad ball skills at the same time, and the ability to take it to the rack and shoot when needed as well. So it needs to be all of those things. That's what great point guards do. So let's look at the overall stats for this game. I'm stats heavy in this game because they were good stats. It wasn't like, oh, can we just dump that one again? These were good stats. So we're going to talk about them. We made 32 from 71 shots from the field, shooting at 45%, which is good. They made 29 from 59 shots, shooting at 49%. So that's really interesting how many more shots we took than they did. So it was all there. It's all the things that we could have is sitting here in front of us. From the three, we were 5 from 25, shooting at 20%. They were 11 from 23, shooting at 49%. Well, that's a pretty glaring stat. And I think Dukas got 4 of them, if I remember correctly from the stats I read earlier. He made 4. So there's a lot more that could have happened there.
Yes.
It just showed so much. We had the chance to win this game. With a better sharpshooter from the three, this would have been a very different game.
Yeah. So I feel like this is something that has been an issue with the Bullets for a while now. Over the past few seasons, our teams have really struggled from that 3-point line. We seem to be a team that don't get a lot up as well compared to other teams. I think this was one of the few games we've had this season where we actually put up more than our opposition. And so it just makes me wonder why we're not as effective from the 3-point line.
I'm just going to answer the question with more questions, I'm afraid. How many of them are rushed shots late in the shot clock or just simply bad looks? I suspect a decent portion are bad looks, but I'm interested in anyone else's take on that, dear listeners. And also, for once, the margin was low enough. We can genuinely say a few more made field goals, a few more made shots, and a few more stops. And like you said, Tracy, it could have been different.
Yeah.
We can say with the benefit of hindsight.
Yeah, absolutely. But I actually do have an opinion on why I think it is. And it's that for a very long time now, it's the defense of our opposition. We are not battle ready. We collapse. We've shown consistently for years now that we can't play under pressure. We have had great shooters come out here and have a shit season with us and then go and have great seasons with other people. And that's because we haven't had the right coaching, the right recruitment, etc., to really get up and be able to perform under intense pressure. And it's the thing DMAC said in his first press conference was that our players are fit enough to run suicides and not much else. They're not actually battle fit ready for these games.
The physicality is the term that's used a lot.
The physicality is massive and they're just not ready for it. So it's one thing to be a sharpshooter in practice and in NBL 1 games, but what happens when you're under serious pressure? Like now let's look at Bryce Cotton, Chris Goulding, Nathan Sobey territory. They are players who can put it up under immense pressure. You look at Bryce Cotton, he is the highest 3-point made shooter in the league and he is consistently double team and he's putting up the hardest shots of anyone. It's not like he's sitting out there on the wing having open threes, is he? And that is what we are not recruiting for. We're recruiting sharpshooters, but not sharpshooters under pressure. So I think it's a massive difference.
Yeah.
All right, we need to talk about the refs. Adelaide got to the free throw line 36 times and we got there 21 times, which is a little bit interesting. So the old refs punishing Brisbane story remains. I still don't think it's our biggest problem, but it's there.
Yeah, definitely not. I just wonder how much of Lash's complaining about them has had an impact on the way we're officiated. I believe in the last episode of the Reverse Pivot, Bruce Palmer said that he was sitting in a corporate box at a game. It was one of Lash's last games. Instead of Lash being focused on the game, I didn't even realize Larry was there because I'm pretty certain I was at this game. Lash was actually yelling out to Larry Kesselman about the reffing. constantly throughout the entire game. And I just wonder how much that's had an impact. And have the refs seen that and heard that, and they're just like, meh, we're not going to really help these guys out too much.
Yeah, it didn't help. And also, like, where's the accountability? But also, it's those situations where the higher placed teams, unfortunately, they just seem to be more likely to get a whistle, and the lower
Melbourne.
placed teams, and it's not just in NBL or in basketball, but you see it in other sporting codes too.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit of all of the things. It shouldn't be. I've said consistently, and I will still say forever, that refs should not be the focus of the game. They shouldn't have a thought on a game or on a player or on a team. Look, Larry Kesselman loves his Melbourne, even though he has no actual ownership stake in any team in the NBL now, which is how it should be. Everyone knows he loves his Melbourne teams. But it's travelling to southeast Melbourne as well. I watched that SEM Perth game last night, and I cannot believe that just simple fouls were not being called on John Brown III. Yes, he's incredible, but he's just reached in 4 times coming down that court and had clear contact and nothing's been called at all. I was like,
No
wow,
calls.
Melbourne is so unbelievably protected, full stop. Southeast
Both
Melbourne
names.
United. And blaming others is a poor man's game. I will not buy it. We need to focus on our on-floor performance and stop worrying about bad refereeing. It takes the control out of your hands and gives it to somebody else, and they're not going to get better anytime soon. The reffing isn't going to get better. Mort says it all the time. This game is too fast for the referees we have now. They've got the same referees that we've had for years and seasons, and the game is getting faster and better, and the refs aren't. And that's not going to change anytime soon. Complaining to them, writing into them, yelling at them, it's not going to change anything, in my opinion. You just need to keep getting better.
Yeah.
The one thing I'll give Schuler credit for when he was at the helm, when he was asked, he would say, we need to be accountable. He had that sort of mindset. He would get frustrated just like any other coach, but he wasn't yelling at the referees like John Riley or Dean Vickerman do.
So we need to get away from the refs. I think you just need to be a good enough team that you say you're going to get 10 bad calls a game and you just work through it. And it's, yep, we're going to get them. So when it comes, you just count them, guys. And if we get more than that, who cares?
Yeah.
You really have to have that work with you in every way. Rebounds. Let's look at rebounds for this game. We had 12 offensive and 18 defensive rebounds, 30 in total. Adelaide had 13 offensive and 29 defensive with 42 total rebounds. And this is where, Jacob Holt, I love you, action man. Don't you go anywhere. However, this is where their height, outshone us dramatically. I was seeing our team box out. Holty was doing a great job at boxing out, and they just reach over and grab it from above him. And this is where height actually matters. We had 9 turnovers and they had 13. Look at that. Look at us go and win some of those counts.
Yeah, we just need to be tidy with the ball like that more consistently. Simple.
Yeah. Adelaide had 5 steals. We had 11. 11
And
steals.
3 of those were by Tohi.
Yeah. He just read the game. What I loved most about this game was that our defense returned. Well done to DMAC for drilling them about their intensity.
Yeah. Let's hope that with a week of practice under their belt, which they've not really had since DMAC's been back in, that they can keep this going.
Yeah, because Maldonado hadn't even really trained with the team or anything. So we can possibly see ourselves getting better and better. Foul count was our 16 to their 24. So it just showed that unbalanced nature. That's a big enough difference, isn't it? The cool thing was I spent the game clapping. So I just clap. Nobody else is clapping and I'm clapping because I'm like, oh, great pass. Oh, great defense. Oh, look at that boxing out. Oh, that's just a great move.
Get
What
a
a great
stop,
move.
clap.
Who cares if it goes in or not? I don't even care. I'm just, oh, nicely done. When Divas or Maldonado, that is defending Bryce Cotton, I'm like, just great defense. And he gets a shot in. I'm like, great shot. Just beautiful basketball to watch. Thank you very much. That's what I'm here for. And I spent most of the game clapping because there was so many good things. The way DMAC had them playing, I was just like clapping the whole game.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I think it's why my clappers are starting to fall apart on me already.
Yep. When Mort came up to visit me, he said that DMAC was absolutely screaming at them on every play of the game. He was really getting into them, yelling at them to get rebounds when they weren't going up for rebounds and things like that. He was incredible. And I know the moment we lost the game. I know the moment I watched it and watched the game switch in that moment. And I went, oh, we're done here. It was in the final quarter. And it was when Terry Taylor did an amazing offensive move and he went up for that shot and he got fouled. But he missed both of his free throws. And so that, if he had made both of those free throws, the gap was 6, it would have gone to 4. But he missed both of them. Then they had a run from the rebound and got down their end. And Terry Taylor actually lost his man on defense and Cheatham got the dunk. And the margin went out to 8. And that was the moment where it stretched from that point. So I was really, really disappointed when I saw that because I thought that was the moment where the whole game turned. But I will say he played 37 and a half minutes. So he was probably a bit gassed. And I'll just leave it there.
Yeah, for me, I'm a little bit more pessimistic in when we lost that game. I actually called it a lot earlier than that. It was when we came out in that third quarter and we stopped doubling down on Cotton. That was game for me. I just saw everything shift. I was actually sitting next to someone who is not a basketball person. I think this maybe was their first or second game that they've ever been to. I was talking to them about Bryce Cotton and explaining how great he was and that we were doing a great job on him. And we just needed to keep that up in the second half. And then I think it was early in the third. And I just saw a play early on and he hit a 3. And I turned to this person and I'm like, that's it. We're done. He's going to go on from here and that'll be game. We just went away from it in that third period. And that's when I thought we had lost it. I didn't see us coming back once Cotton started to get going. I just felt the rest of the 36ers weren't going to beat us. Sure, they did a better job of getting him some of those looks, but I thought we also went away from that doubling and tripling on him. So yeah, that's for me where I felt we really lost it. I know that's a bit pessimistic to say that. I didn't think once he got going, we were going to win.
Yeah, no, I thought we were there, but I just saw that drop in that moment and went, oh no, we're done now. I thought we were hanging in there up until that moment. And then I went, no, there's no game here anymore. It's like we were still in the game.
Bryce is just one of those players that if in doubt, just double him. Just double him. That's got to be an appropriate strategy in most circumstances. And Tracy, yeah, your take, read the minutes on Taylor. It sounds about right. Like 37's a lot to expect him to be productive towards the tail end of those minutes, particularly.
Not for an athlete.
Yeah.
Not for Bryce Cotton. Not for Nathan Sobey.
Yep.
But
yeah, someone with a full preseason.
Our players. Yeah. Yeah.
A mid-season signing.
Yeah, and hadn't played. And that's where the amount of players that we've been through this season is really coming to bite us right now. DMAC's coaching. So, on a previous episode, I talked about Dean Vickerman looking like he was conducting an orchestra. He was so locked in and he wrote every play and everything that was happening. And he knew what the Bullets were about to run. Bullets would call and he'd go, they're about to do this and this. And so remember to do this and this. And he was literally writing that game from the sidelines. And this is what I saw from DMAC in this game. He was so locked into all of his players and he rode them. He rode that game from the sideline. And that's where there's like this connection between the coach and the players. And I thought what he did there was incredibly impressive for that entire game, minus those last couple of minutes. I think they all got a bit tired. So I just love what DMAC was able to do in this game. He was calling them out every time they missed a single rebound or took a bad shot. He was calling them out for every single thing they did wrong. He wasn't just, oh, what do we do here? His timeouts were great. He was so onto and in control of this game. He had his stand-up timeout, which is the perfect time to have it at that start of the third because the Bullets went out with complacency when they were on top. And I was like, yes, stand-up timeout. Nice work. The more I see of him, the more I think he may very well be the man we've been hoping for as a head coach for this team.
So one, I always love a good fashion standing timeout. They are the absolute best. Some of my favorite was actually Joey Wright's standing timeouts. And I think CJ Bruton is also very good at those as well. I can remember him giving as an assistant early on with the Bullets when they came back. And number two, I think it was a glaring issue with Lash on the sidelines. You could see that he just didn't know what was meant to be happening out there. And so essentially, he was just walking up and down the court, very little communication to the players. And that's what we were missing. And he'd have to turn to Vandy or DMAC to figure out what was happening. And they'd have to tell him what needed to happen so that he could actually yell it out. That's a big difference.
It's really hard for us to not think about those several games earlier in the season where we were lacking cohesion and lacking coordination and organization, lacking a real coach. And it just highlights for me what a difference a real coach makes, which is what DMAC is. And to me, he's the right guy for right now.
Yeah.
Watching Adelaide, I am so annoyed that Brisbane did not keep up a relationship with Pero and Flynn Cameron, FFS. And he went to Adelaide. We really haven't shown the ability to build those important relationships. And once again, I'm going to keep saying it, people. This is where a GM of basketball, right here in Brisbane, who knows Australian basketball is so freaking important because he would have kept that relationship with Pero, who's on the Gold Coast, and he would have flippin' got Flynn.
Yeah. So I've seen a rumor, I think it may have been in a chat group somewhere, that was actually that had we signed Hanare as coach, we would have been able to sign Cameron.
Yep. And that takes our front office review and report card from a D- to an F, in my opinion. Just that alone. It's like F.
Missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Oh, this makes me so mad. I had a chance this week to watch the Cut to the Jace podcast. And this one was from a while ago when Jason Cadee interviewed Derek Rucker. And they talked about injuries at Brisbane because they're both Brisbane guys or have been Brisbane guys. And it was really interesting to hear them talk about it. You'll love this one, Cam. Rucker said it gets too technical with the science guys. Derek said he wouldn't be wearing those trackers. He doesn't see a point in the actual trackers. And Jay said he believes that the game has lost the feel. And I can't help but agree with him. I was like, oh my God, science is great. But when you put science between the coach and the players, you've now got a disconnect, which is, I think, what we've got massively. And a few other teams have got it too. We're not the only ones, but we've put too much power in the hands of that team. Jace said coaches would know when their team had some tough games and they'd rest them and train them appropriately. He believes we're seeing more injuries now than in the previous years across the board because everything is tracked. He said he's seen this in clubs, and he said if he walked in and had to sign a form to say how he felt, he'd get mad and just say, if you want to know how I'm feeling, just ask me. Why am I having to fill out something to tell you how I'm feeling, to feed back into a data machine, whatever? Why are people not just asking me? It really felt like he was saying that the science side of things has just taken the connection away from people talking to each other and the feel for the game and the feel that the coach has over his players, and that it's becoming a lost art because if they lay an egg on the court, you are like, throw those trackers out. We're having a hard training session tomorrow. I don't give a shit if it's recovery day. We are doing what we need to do because the coach is so connected to his team. He knows what they need in order to be able to perform next time. And he can switch his trainings around to just go, we're pulling that out, we're putting this in here, and we're doing it this way this week. And the coach doesn't have enough power, in my opinion, after listening to this.
Yeah, 100% agree. It's just over the top now. And I think more and more fans are starting to get a bit sick of it because it's not just with how they train, it's what's happening on the court as well. It's affecting rotations. Players are being subbed out when they're clearly on a roll, they're on a scoring run, they're defensively locked in, and they get pulled out, and all of a sudden the whole dynamic of the team on the court changes and the scoring dries up, defense gets put under more pressure, and the opposition all of a sudden go on a run and your back's up against the wall and you're trying to find it all back. A lot of the time it just doesn't make sense. I'd like to see it out of the game a little bit more. There's no going by the feeling of the game
And
these
it's taking
days.
over control of the game. That's
Yeah.
the part we're talking about. So, of course,
Yeah.
we need them, but you just can't have control.
Yeah.
They're living and dying by the data that they have at their disposal, but they're not using it effectively, you would argue. Andrew Gay's made a similar comment about the GPS as if I was running practice, I'd rip him out. But on the subject of practice times, Joey Wright on a recent Time Out No Flop Zone, he took a question about the start time of practices as well. He wanted to delve into it more and analyze it more, but he just wasn't able to get into it when he was coaching at that time, unfortunately.
Yeah. So he was looking at things like, why are we training at 11 o'clock in the morning when we play at
Yep.
7 o'clock at night?
Yep.
Doesn't make sense. Why are we not getting into a little bit more of a game simulation time? So our body has to get used to playing at this time. Why are we training at this time? So I think there's a lot in that too.
Yeah.
So NBL moments that mattered. Jack Everin said they tried to get DMAC on, but were denied. His word was, we were denied.
That was for a pre-game, wasn't it? I heard it mentioned that it was for a pre-game interview and it was declined.
Yeah. Yeah. So my question to that is, do you think it was DMAC saying no, or do you think someone else made the call and denied them? For me,
I'd say it was Bullets management that said, no, it's not available.
I think someone else made the call, and maybe, just maybe, because they feel DMAC overstepped with what he had said in that press conference, and that's got some in the club a little bit scared.
He'll turn
and
up for the
annoyed.
post-game presses because that's required, but nothing more. That's my suspicion.
Yeah. But let's look at it. So we had our New Zealand coach had a go at his
Input.
player, at his
Oh,
import
backup.
in that game. And then there's the back and the forth, and there's all the things going on in there. And the media came out and went, not great. Not great. Don't really want to see it. DMAC goes into a presser a few weeks before, lays it on the owners and the CEO. And you know what everyone in the NBL media said? Every single person, not one person said, oh, that was no good.
Yeah.
Every single person has said, well done. That was excellent. That was
Everyone said
amazing.
they loved it.
And
Yeah,
so that's the difference. The Bullets didn't reward him for taking a step in the right direction for the club. What he did was actually righting things, not making it worse or wrong or anything. It was actually enlightening, and it was a great moment and everyone loved it. And so for the Bullets to then yank him back from that, because DMAC would have been told very clearly from that moment on, you're on a bit of thin ice here and you can't do that. You can't talk to the media outside of that. And in those, you cannot talk about us at all. You can talk about the game only. So he would have been put in his place, rightly or wrongly. So there are times when talking out works, and I think that was one of them. And I think to not let him speak from then on is a big mistake. One of you guys dropped this in. It was the hoo-yah and harden ups. And we got lots in there. Brisbane was talked about a lot. And so this usually comes from Damon Lowry, doesn't it? Hoo-yah and
that's
harden
right.
up. So he had a hoo-yah for Jacob Holt. Your club is going through a lot, but it's great to see how you're carrying yourself. Against the Wildcats, you led the team in scoring, and you were the only player who scored in double figures of 17 plus 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block in 23 minutes. Stay focused and keep going. It was awesome. Hoo-yah, Hunter Maldonado. Not many players have 2 debuts for 2 different teams in the same season. In your first game, you played the 36ers off the bench and delivered 16 points, 9 assists and 2 steals. That's a what's up. Harden up. We're staying with the Bullets. All of Tyrell Harrison's teammates. Why? Because Tyrell Harrison is 7'1" tall, and your leading scorer was 17 points and 10 rebounds at over 60% shooting. But against the Kings, you let him play the first half with only 1 shot. And he finished with 5 shots for the game. So he's be better.
Yeah.
Be better.
Can't argue with him on those ones. I
Love him
I
or hate him.
rarely,
He's got some good stuff to say.
I rarely agree with him, but he comes out occasionally with a few good ones.
In NBL overtime this week, I was a little bit worried because Lowry said that Tyrell is injured and probably out for the rest of the season. I was like, stop it. Or does he know that
It's
we don't
unconfirmed,
know?
but we just suspect it. That's where we're at.
Really? I would have thought 2 weeks. Concussion protocol.
I
Yeah.
keep going back to last season. We lost Tyrell, Rocco, and Josh Bannon within quick succession, and suddenly Tohi was our starting big. At least
Yeah.
this time we have Jacob, but
Action man.
action man. But
Oh,
we can only
shout out
hope
to
that
Adam. Hold on a sec. Shout out to Adam at the game who said Action Man Holt and ripped out some of his nicknames. I was like, yes, Adam. Thank you,
shout
Adam.
out.
Sorry,
Well
carry
done.
on.
Yeah, so if it's just a standard concussion protocol, then I'll say he'll be back. Because yes, I do think that is 12 days or something like that now. So he should be
Okay.
back at that time. I know last season was very different. I believe he came back way too soon from one. I believe that one was in New Zealand. There were flights to deal with, and I think it was a little bit of delayed concussion as well. And then he came back and copped another one, and that was pretty much it. This one to me doesn't have that same feel, and I really hope I'm right on that. It just
Yeah, I
doesn't.
hope you are too.
I did see some comments in the groups asking why Nordo wasn't on protocol either. And I said it when the incident actually happened. I'm like, Nordo looks reasonably okay here. He's just built differently. He's a tough
Yeah.
little nut.
And they go through a set of testing. So it's not that they wouldn't have tested Nordo. They
Yeah.
would have tested Nordo the same way they tested Tyrell. Nordo came out negative, Tyrell came out positive. It's really that simple. That
Yeah.
Nordo just showed that he took the knock and his brain is okay and his head. And I absolutely believe in this medical team that they would have done that protocol with Nordo a couple of days as well afterwards. They would have kept going for a couple of days
Yes,
because delayed concussion is a thing.
that's
So
correct.
I don't think he's out there because they don't care about Nordo.
Yeah.
I think that's something he's just not showing the symptoms because
Agreed.
head injuries are a massive
Yeah.
red flag and they would have got rid of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just taken way more seriously these days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd hate to bump heads with him as well. In all honesty, I think he's got a pretty hard head from the looks of him. Other than that black eye, he really didn't look too bad after it initially happened. I'm sure it still hurt though, but yeah, he looked reasonably okay.
Yeah. So you think Smack and JFL?
Yeah, so Smack and JFL I can see not returning, considering they're meant to be reassessed in 4 weeks. By the time I think they're meant to be coming back, they're really only another couple of games left. And so I just wonder, do you risk bringing them back? I think by that stage we might have, hopefully, a settled roster without those two in. So just let it fly. Don't bother risking Smack any further. Let him get that plantar fasciitis fixed
Sorted
up. Take the extra time to do that. And if you don't need to bring JFL back, then let it go unless you really feel like you need to have him in there.
I can't imagine we'll be vying for the sixth position, Tassie,
No.
as we predicted. Remember when we talked about that? We all said
Yep.
Tassie will get it, and oh my God, are they getting it?
That's
So I don't think we're going to be in that position to be fighting for that. So I don't see the point. So it's a bit sad that JFL didn't get to come and finish what he started.
Yep.
Obviously, that's just a not meant to be thing for him.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
a hamstring, and just get your hamstring sorted, mate. That's all I can say. Like you said, Tracy, it's no longer about top six. It's about salvaging pride and just giving something for the fans to get some confidence and look forward to.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
thought that we lost that game against Adelaide, but I put it in a comment in the bullets. I was like, they played with heart and grit. That's
Yeah.
it. That's all we need.
If we get an L, we want that kind of L.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so much more engaging.
Yeah. I will say on the JFL thing, when I spoke to him in the members bar before that Adelaide game, and so we asked him about the hamstring, and he really did feel confident that it wasn't too bad. He did say that the injury that he had before he left the first time. That felt really bad, but he seemed confident this time round.
Was
But
that also
clearly,
a hamstring, Cam?
yeah, that was it. Was the
Initially
exact
was.
it was the exact same leg as well, I believe.
That's where I'm going to disagree with him because that was pre-scan, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was pre-scan.
You're
Okay.
re-tearing a previous
Yeah,
hamstring.
yeah.
There's
So
something,
yes, so yeah, it's just unfortunate that clearly those scans came back and showed that it was worse than what he was feeling because he wasn't on crutches or anything. He was walking around pretty free. So yeah, but yeah, clearly scans showed something
yeah,
worse.
yeah. All right, let's talk about the coach. First thing I'm going to say is that DMAC said there was, this is all that's been in the media. It's not me making things up. It's all that's been in the media. First of all, we heard they talked to an Aussie coach and they were told, stop talking to Aussies. This came from a very good source when it went out into the media because I've since been told who the source is and it's a very good source, so I do believe it, that stop looking at Australians. We want an American coach. The ownership wants an American coach. They stepped in. Then the Bullets came out and said, no, we are not looking for an American coach. We are keeping our worldwide search. I think that's hilarious. That's like the Bullets meme words now, worldwide search. And that is open and we're talking to everyone. But then we hear Will Weaver is the one and he had a contract. A contract has been on the table with Will Weaver for 2 weeks. That came through Olgun to the NBL. So the Bullets organisation has bigger problems than just a head coach right now, I do believe. Their
Yeah,
messaging in the media, it is flipping
Oh, you don't
like
believe it, you
nothing
know
else.
it.
It is very reactive and it is very hard to build any trust.
yeah, yeah. I said last episode, either people were getting their wires crossed or someone was telling porcupines, and
Yeah.
that just seems to be ringing true.
And we've just seen it consistently through the season. This isn't the first thing. It's like even the Johnny drama stuff. There's so much stuff. And I'm like, you're saying one thing and then you're saying the opposite thing. But you were there when I'm not the only one who heard that, am I? And it's on record. And now you're saying the opposite thing. And now there's what? Like it's just there's so much that's not making sense. So Will Weaver. I did a deep dive onto him going, who is this guy and is he good for the club? Because I'm not going to say keep DMAC. I'm going to look at everything. And so he's actually got a really interesting CV and I quite like it. So I've done like a literally massive deep dive with AI and they got me all the things. So he was born in Texas. He went to University of Texas at Austin, a BA in philosophy and a master's of education in kinesiology. He's my kind of guy. I want to have a very interesting conversation with him on that stuff. While he was studying, he volunteered with the Texas Longhorns basketball camps and later became a graduate assistant and a special assistant with the Longhorns program. So that's where he started, 2006 to 2010. They compiled a winning record of 103 to 39 at 4 NCAA tournament appearances. So he did well there. He then went on 2010 to 2012, Sam Houston State assistant coach. They went down 31 to 32 over 2 seasons, and he developed contacts such as Houston Rockets executive Sam Hinkie. 2013 to 2016, Philadelphia 76ers. He was hired by the general manager, Sam Hinkie, which is how he made that step. He initially joined as basketball operations assistant and video coordinator, then became a special assistant under head coach Brett Brown. The role exposed him to player development during the early stages of the process. 2016 to 2018, he was recruited by Nets head coach Kenny Atkinson because of his reputation for rebuilding and development. There's lots of words in here that I like when I'm reading through this. I'm like, oh, these are all very green flags. He served as a special assistant and later assistant coach, helping with player development and game preparation, which is something we've been lacking in. 2018 and 19, his first head coaching position. His debut season, he guided the Brooklyn Nets G League affiliate to a franchise record 34 wins and the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. His team improved by 7 wins from the previous year and produced a 10-game winning streak, the longest in the league that season. He was voted the Coach of the Year, the G League Coach of the Year that year. 2 players, Mitch Creek and Tajir McCall, received Gatorade call-ups into the NBA from there. So he developed them. Weaver moved to Australia to coach the Sydney Kings 2019-2020 regular season, and he finished the season 20 wins, 8 losses, capturing the minor premiership for the first time since 2008 and reaching the grand final for the first time in more than a decade. They ultimately lost the final series, after opting not to continue due to the COVID-19 pandemic. His emphasis on player development and communication was widely praised. He then joined the assistant coach, Stephen, Silas''S. Anyone can figure that out themselves. Staff as a lead assistant. Sports Illustrated noted he worked closely with players. Kevin Martin was one of them, one of our owners, Kevin Martin. Jay Sean Tate, and focused on player development. He was also a finalist for the Oklahoma City Thunder head coaching vacancy during this period. Yep. And then it's a really interesting resume. July 2022, he was named head coach of Paris basketball. During the Pro A season and Euro Cup campaign, gaining experience coaching in European competitions. He returned to the NBA then, 23-24, as an assistant coach under Jackie Vaughn and interim head coach Kevin Ollie. Nets Daily notes that he returned with the Nets organisation and contributed to player development again. So he's got these great development roles. According to Real GM, the Charlotte Hornets hired Weaver as a coaching advisor in August 2025. He provides support to the head coach, Charles Lee. So he was Australian Boomers assistant coach 2014 to 2021. This was not a short stint. He joined the head coach Andre Lamanis' staff for the 2014 FIBA World Cup and remained throughout to the 2016 Rio Olympics. He helped Australia finish 4th at the 2016 Olympics. And he was acting head coach for the 2021 FIBA Asia Cup qualifiers. When Brett Brown was unavailable, Basketball Australia appointed Weaver to lead the Boomers for Asia Cup qualifiers. And so then I looked at his coaching philosophy and impact. I was like, tell me about this person a little more deeply. Go and look at what he's done and what kind of coach he is. And he's a player development specialist. Everything that he's done through everything that I've just said and gone through, player development is massive. Offensive innovation is what he's well known for. So Long Island under Weaver led the G League in points per game, 117.7. was their average, and rebounds 53.9 while playing one of the league's fastest paces. So they were a fast team and they got up a lot of shots and they had a high percentage and crashed the boards. Observers noted his use of modern offensive schemes with spacing, cutting and dribble, handoff actions to generate shots at the rim. That's very much Lamanis as well. He used to love that. Free throws and 3-pointers. Leadership and communication, very well known for that. So especially coming from the Kings, they praised his leadership ability and his ability to build relationships, what was lacking for us at the start of this season. And in his farewell, Weaver credited the Sydney community and emphasised the importance of team culture. So he was really able to build that culture there. Then I asked, find me reports from players and coaches from the Sydney Kings and why did he leave the Kings? The ownership and management spoke very positively about Weaver during and after his season in charge. When he left for the NBA, the club issued a statement praising his leadership and impact. They highlighted player development focus, basketball intelligence and relationship building with players and staff, credited with guiding the team in all the stats they got then. So they said it was amazing. They didn't say why he left, though. I think it was just the offer that he got. And at that time, the world was closing down. So it was probably safer to be in America than Australia if your family's in America.
Yeah, that's what I remember as well.
Yeah.
That's my recollection,
And he was given an NBA coaching opportunity and he took it, which is a part of my concerns for Will Weaver. So that was good. So then I actually did. If anyone wants the link to my research, just hit me up and I'll send you the ChatGPT link, because then I'm not going to go in this in depth, but I did an analysis on Will Weaver versus Trevor Gleeson coaching. Go and research both of them and tell me what the difference is between the two, just out of interest. What really came down to was that Will Weaver is more of a running team. Trevor Gleeson's more of a system oriented team. Will Weaver's more of a run and gun and implement and empower his players to do a lot more. So that's what came out of that. And then I asked to do a bit of a style matchup. And Will Weaver's just a modern systems coach, is what it came down to. So pace and spacing is what he does a lot of. His offense is around pace and spacing, early offense, drag screens, flow actions, read and react principles rather than rigid sets. So there's a lot of caveats in every set on offense. His emphasis is on decision speed, not play calling volume. With Sydney, he had fast starts, which we've lacked, high offensive efficiency early in games, and players empowered to attack advantages quickly. So this is where this falls down, is in your recruitment. So if you don't have players who are able to be empowered and who need that heavy coaching and need to be ridden, like a lot of our players currently, it's not going to work as well for them. Whereas Trevor Gleeson is a situational tactician. He will play the game and he will guide the game like Dean Vickerman does. What's really interesting as well is that I had to ask, how good is Will Weaver at developing bigs? It matters to me. It matters very much. He's very good at developing modern bigs, is what it came down to. So that concerns me a little bit, but it excites me a little bit as well. He's not a traditional post-development coach because he does all that running. So in this one, you've got to think Xavier Cooks.
Yeah.
Like that kind of really running game. So his philosophy with bigs, from the research done, is decision speed. So it's catch, read, act. It's not let's stand there, let's think about it. It's move quickly. Screening craft, so angles, rescreens, and timing. Short role playmaking. Defensive versatility, so switching and show and recover, which works a lot better for our team, I believe. And running the floor hard, which I love. I love running the floor hard. So he has improved a lot of bigs in his time. You can go and read up on that. Then I asked who has he done this with and tell me their names, and he has done all of that. So he turns raw bigs into functional pros, is what it basically said. He makes them better. And if you're a big, he wants athletic bigs, underdeveloped decision makers and making them better decision makers, and players with tools but no clarity. How can they not be three massive ticks and green flags if he's able to do that? If you're a big who wants an NBA chance to extend your career and to modernize your game, Weaver is an excellent coach. So I can't fault that either. I think it looks good. On the negative side of things, the big question is he has only stayed at a post every 2 years and he's had 10 jobs in 20-year career, and that's a concern. So how do you guys see this?
Yeah, I definitely think he's a person that can get the results fast, as long as he gets what he wants or needs. So
In player recruitment?
in player recruitment, I think you've just got to let him have what he knows he's going to need. Because as you said, listed that fast run and gun style, he's going to know what kind of players he really needs to be able to do that effectively. He's a proven winner, including in this league, and he's got all of that FIBA basketball experience as well. So not just the NBA, actually at FIBA level and Europe. Plus, he's got all those extensive contacts in the NBA on top of all of that. I agree. The constant changing of jobs is a concern. So I think we're all at the same thing. We want someone who's going to be here for at least 3 years. I am a 3 to 5 year sort of thing with it. So 5 years being my preferred. But if that's not possible, then over those 3 years, you start putting in succession plan for someone to take over from him when he moves on. I would really like to see if it could happen if he couldn't do coaching for 3 years. Could we keep him those 2 extra years and he be that GM of basketball role? and keep working with the person that he's put into his succession plan and really develop that over those extra couple of years, and then hopefully have a sustainable foundation for the club moving forward.
So it must help that he has a relationship with people like Kevin Martin. That must be
That's how I read it.
Yeah.
That's how they found him.
a helpful carrot. The concern is it's like when he was at Sydney, he gets an offer he can't refuse to go to Houston or Philadelphia, Brooklyn, wherever. He coached in Paris, and that's a FIBA league. So we're a FIBA league. All those things you highlight, Tracy, it makes it enticing. It's just we hope that they can just close the deal.
Yeah. Yeah. So I stand by my thoughts on DMAC and all that he's given to this club, and that we cannot oust him. I really don't. He will be someone who will be a lifer for the Bullets. So you look at DMAC and you look at Will Weaver and you're like, Will Weaver will come in and give us what he can. And if we're lucky, it'll be 3 years. If we're really lucky, might get 5 or 6 from him, if we're really lucky. But he's shown us that stability and consistency is not his thing. So is he going to want to stay? If he gets an offer of a head coaching position in the NBA from here, is he going to drop us like it's hot? Chances are probably, whereas DMAC is an absolute lifer. So if you give him this role, he will keep rolling over and he will keep developing and he will keep doing the job for as long as you will let him do it, I believe, because he said, I love the job. I love the game. I can't leave even if I go down in ranks. I want to stay. I can't not do this. I love it too much. So if I was the one making the decisions, as would a GM of basketball with great basketball experience, if we had a great GM in place right now, what they would be doing to move forward with this club, DMAC and Will Weaver in a room together and say, let's talk, fellas. DMAC, I don't think you're there yet. However, nobody's been mentoring you to become a head coach. So let's get you and Will Weaver in a room together and let's see if you can sign together. I think that they have a very similar style of play. Watching what DMAC's done for the team over these last couple of games and reading of what Will Weaver can do, I think they're on the same page. And I think you've got somebody in DMAC who can develop your guard so much it's not funny, and Will can do all the things. And then I would be signing Will Weaver to a minimum 3-year head coaching contract. And I would work into it that DMAC is your lead assistant. And you are not only coaching the team for 3 to 5 years, Will Weaver or whatever it is, but you are preparing DMAC for the head coaching role in 3 years' time, so that there is a seamless transition and it moves on, and then you stay on. So Cam, you would want him to go from coaching into GM. I'm like, I want a great GM now.
Yeah.
I'm not waiting 3 years and then putting somebody else in there and just hoping it'll all work out. I'm like, that is our number one role that has to be given now. And it has to be in Australia. And we have to have a CEO and a GM of basketball who take our club from a F to an A. It really is massive. So if I could wave my magic wand, that's what I would be doing. I would say, DMAC, you're staying. We love everything you've been doing. We need the stability. We need the expertise of a head coach. Let's bring Will in. And not only will he coach for as long as he wants to and needs to, but once he goes, you've got the job. It's yours to lose. And let's develop in that way. Gives DMAC the reward of, you are the person. We love everything you've got to give, and we need somebody who's just got a little bit more under their belt. So let's work together to make it happen. How does that sound?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't disagree with the GM. I think we've all been in agreement that we need that experienced local GM now. For some reason, I don't see it happening. I think they've made this decision to go with a coach.
No, I refuse. No, I refuse to listen. No.
Yeah. And that's why I think maybe in that 3 years' time, they're looking for a new one and he could slide into that. That's the only reason why I said that as a possible pipeline type thing where he can move into.
You're being more realist, but I've got my wishes have come true last year.
I know, yes.
So I'm not letting myself be a realist. I'm shooting for the top. I'm going for a I'm going for my GF run, and that's what I want to see. But yeah, and I think Will Weaver's staying on as like a mentor or a basketball advisor for the club, wherever he is. So he might go and get another role somewhere else, but he stays connected with the club in an official capacity to be that mentor for the club and that moving forward.
Yeah, that
So
could work.
Seamless.
Yeah.
Yeah, Trace, it's really a case of what we want and what we expect will happen. That those are the differences, and Cam is forecasting what may or may not happen. And yeah,
It's
I
more
just have a
realistic.
question. Yeah, I just have a question. I don't recall who were his assistants in Sydney, and were they already there, or were they
Well,
some
the thing
who were
about
brought
Will
in?
Weaver is that he did not build that roster in Sydney.
Yep,
So he had no
that's
say. He did
encouraging
all
as
of
well.
that with the players that he was given.
Yep. So
He
that's my other question
transformed
is,
them.
will he want his own assistants, or we hope, like you say, Tracy, that he'll sit down over a cup of coffee with DMAC and go, let's work this out.
Yeah.
Map out a plan for the Ports.
Adam Ford, lead
Yes.
assistant coach,
Adam Ford.
already at the Kings before Weaver arrived.
Yeah, because he then took over for
Inherited,
that
not
year.
hired
Yep.
by Weaver.
Yeah, okay.
Wait for it. James Duncan
Of course.
was on Andrew Gaze's staff prior to Weaver,
Yeah.
and our very
Okay.
own Daniel Kickett,
Yes, that was
player development
Kickett,
and
yeah.
assistant hybrid.
Okay.
He
Yeah,
was
and so Duncan stayed
internal
on
and not a
with
Weaver
Ford.
appointment. So he worked with 3 coaches and a full roster, none of his choosing.
It's a possible answer then that Weaver would want to work with DMAC.
I think that shows that there is an ability for Will Weaver not to come in, because that's what Josh King did. Sam McKinnon reported that Josh King came in and said, no, thank you. We don't want you as an assistant coach because, Sam, you're not an assistant coach. You're an assistant coach wanting to become a head coach, and I only want assistant coaches. And that's why Sam was moved on from that job down at SEM. That's the reason he was given. And so I think Will Weaver might be a possibility. And do we keep any of our other coaches? I'm not attached to anyone, but DMAC. I think DMAC needs to be the one that stays, and then the GM of basketball and Will Weaver and DMAC can choose who the others are.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens there. I think if they come out with big announcements before the end of the season, then they're tone deaf. I think they have to play it really carefully. But again, they haven't shown the ability to do that with all that's been leaked through the media. So we'll have to wait and see. So we have 2 games to play this week. We have our game against Cairns was postponed due to that low that will hopefully come to us tomorrow. And we're playing that on Monday night. I think that even though this is a bottom of the table match, it will still be a hard fought win. I think this is going to actually be a good game. I believe Cairns have enough bodies and talent to win over Brisbane in this game. And I think they'll take this one home. We have a poor record against Cairns for many seasons now. It's not just this season we have the poor record. It's been a long time they've had one up over us. It will be a close game, but we've got no Tyrell, no Smack, no JFL. I'm predicting Cairns by 7, and that's very hopeful. I'm being very positive with my Cairns by 7. And for the court wipers up there, when I saw they were playing on Monday, I was like, that's not ideal conditions either. They're still going to have to fly over that low to get up there today or around it or something. And the court wipers in Cairns, you're not going to listen to this, but if we can get it there by osmosis, get those air conditioners on early, because the humidity that is going to be from that low sailing through is going to be disgusting. It is going to be dripping. And we've lost players before to injuries from slipping on that court in the same conditions. So please,
Also,
court
Tyrell
people. Yeah, these conditions are just made for injuries.
Yeah. Yeah. On that, Cairns having the wood over us for a while now, I go back to, and we brought it up in one of our Monday Madness, that game where we absolutely slaughtered them by 36 points. Ever since that game, Cairns have come out with a grudge, and they've had, I think it's since then that they've had it over us. I really think that game did a lot of damage to them and fired them up to come in ready to fight us every game.
And it didn't even get us into the finals.
No, it didn't. Still a great game. I do think this is going to be close for me. I don't think we've got anyone that can contain McVeigh with Smack and JFL and all of that out. So I
Who do you
expect
think will
him.
have him? I think Dukas will take him. Tall enough.
Yeah, Dukas, maybe even Maldonado, although he might have his hands full with Andrews, because I
Yeah.
think they're both fairly tall point guards.
Other than that, it might be Taylor, but I don't think it would be.
Yeah, Taylor as a possibility. So yes, I don't think we can really slow him down. So I'm expecting him to put up some decent numbers. Although I did see somewhere saying that maybe he had re-injured his wrist again, and so that wasn't great. And Wardenberg's starting to look good out there, and King is producing. So it's definitely going to be a very tough game. I think that if we can play the same type of defense that we did against Adelaide, we get up here. So I'm going to go Bullets by 5.
Yay. I hope
Yeah.
you're right. I hope you win this one.
Me too. And that reminds me, I need to put my tips in.
Oh, yeah. Who you got, Scott, for this one?
My initial thought was Snakes by 5. It's just not much more than a hair's breadth in it, like a coin toss, genuinely. So it could easily be Bullets by 5, like Cam said, but my first thing that pops in my head is Snakes by a whisker, like 5.
Yeah.
A40 and Schofield don't have the
Mm.
ref's favour, so we can't think that they're
And they have Wardenberg, which when they beat us at the beginning of the season, they didn't have Wardenberg. So that's my concern, is that he'll have a big one.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the Bullets will fly down to Sydney for a game on Thursday night. It's very hard to be positive about this one. It's not that we won't fight and it's not that we won't do our best, but when I put the two teams next to each other, I don't see much hope, but I would have done the same for Adelaide and not had much hope. So I don't know, but I predict that I'll be very happy if we lose by less than 15. And that's after seeing Sydney dismantle New Zealand the other night. It's very concerning.
Yeah, Sydney are just looking good even without Bull Qual out there now. They still look really tough. We've not matched well against them at all this season and for a few seasons now. So I am expecting a double-digit deficit. Once again, I think if we can keep it within that, they've done a good job. It just comes down to how many bodies we have out coming into that game. Do we have Tyrell back or not? We just don't know. And yeah, I don't think we can match their intensity. And once again, I'm hoping for some consistency from their defense, but I'm still going Kings by 15 as well.
The travel makes it challenging and is a concern. So they're playing on Monday night in Cairns. So you would think that they will be traveling home to Brisbane on Tuesday. And you would think that they would be traveling to Sydney on Wednesday. So when do they even practice? Do they practice on Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday morning or both?
I'd be surprised if they didn't just do a walkthrough for that one.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. And so
So
I
the
think
Cairns game will finish at 8:30. So getting a flight back that night. In a perfect world, they'd be back that night. I don't know if there would be a Cairns Brisbane flight then.
it's difficult to imagine. I think Sydney, it makes them a challenge for them having Qual out against the other higher placed teams, but having Qual out, they have enough depth against a lower placed team like the Bullet, like even with their current injuries, that they can still account for a team that is the standard of the Bullets in their current situation.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Sydney scouted well enough to bring 3 elite defenders into their team and their
Yeah.
lineup. So
Their
we still
roster
have 2 more
construction.
to dismantle our offense. And DMAC said after we played them last time, he said they're relentless.
Yep.
And he's so one goes out, but then you've got Delhi, and he goes out. You're like, it's just it
Similar to
doesn't
the
stop.
Phoenix.
Plus, they're looking at bringing in another
So you didn't
person.
give us a prediction though, Scott. Oh, did you say
I didn't. I would suspect Kings by 18.
Kings by 18? All right, you ready for some yeah nahs?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like to give the rhetorical one first. Yeah, nah. Can the Bullets have long-term success without a CEO and GM of basketball in Australia who are basketball proven experts in their position?
Hell no.
Nah.
See,
The long
easy to
nah.
start. Yeah, nah. Next season, the Bullets should prioritise youth development players over veteran marquee players.
We already have some development players in the likes of Divas is transitioning to a full rostered spot, and Murray we may offer a contract to. Dukas we're not sure about either. So I think we need to look at the whole roster, and that includes who is going to be a marquee. Is that Prather when he becomes naturalised?
And how much of the roster are we keeping? Because I
Yeah.
would be saying not
Okay.
much.
Yeah, I'm going to go with nah, just because I do think we need a decent marquee in there.
Yeah.
And I think we've got a couple of those young guys already that we can keep working with.
Yep. Yeah, nah. DMAC won't care about winning if they sign a new head coach while he is the interim head coach.
Nah, he wants to win. I don't think he cares. He just wants to win.
He's a pro and he cares for the club.
Yep. And he has so much pride and he hates losing, and there's no way he's going
So
to
much
not
pride.
care about winning.
No.
He's going to ride this to the very last moment and enjoy every second of it. Yeah, nah. Next season, we need to build the team around Casey Prather.
I'm going to go nah with this one. I think just with his age and his injuries that he's had, I think he will be a decent focus for us, but I don't think we need to be looking at building the team around him. He's still possibly got a few more years. They're probably going to start coming off the bench. So yeah, I say nah to that.
Yeah, not as the focal point. We can't rely on him as the main scoring option as much as we have in the past. We just can't.
Yeah.
Great.
It's not,
And so
yeah.
I had a follow-up question that's not a yeah, nah. Is there anyone on the current roster who you would focus on building the team around? Because I'm the same. It's love you, Casey, but I would not make you the focal point.
A single person or
A single player on the roster currently, or would you wait and find an import to do it around next year?
I'm going to go with Holt. I actually think you can build a team around him. Maybe figuring out where we want to play him. Do we want to keep him as that 5, or do you want to shift him to the 4 like Tracy wants him to be? I think if you move him to that 4, make him a focal point. I think he's got a lot of upside to him that he will get better as he's playing in the league more. So I think you could really build that team around him, which initially was the intent we had with Bannon when we signed him. And I do see a lot of similarities between the two. I think Holt's a little bit more athletic than Bannon. I think you could really build a team around him.
if that motor of his gets to the point where he can play a high enough number of minutes, then I'm with you, Cam. That isn't it?
Looking at that whole roster, the only one I would choose would be Holty.
Yeah.
Last year, nah. Should the Bullets be like Adelaide and have more themed home games for dress-ups and entertainment value?
I only go with yeah, because I saw their Cowboy and West or
How
Rodeo
good was
one.
it? It's like
Uh,
half time, and I'm in
yeah.
the group chat going, they're rolling out a stage and a live band. What?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, it's their country and western round, fully themed. Every home game is themed.
Yeah, I do like it. Maybe not every home game, but a few more. It would be good to see.
Sure, why not?
Somebody in
Sounds
the
good to me.
supporters group went to that Adelaide game, and they said they were in Adelaide. They went to a game. They actually were able to get tickets, and they said the game day experience was excellent.
Yeah.
Their hype team weren't as good as Adam and Johnny, but the game day experience was 100% on anything that the Bullets put on, looking at that kind of thing. And when you look at our favourite games for the season, it really has been teddy bear toss. I loved Halloween and the dress ups and things like that.
Yeah.
So I think there is an opportunity to do it, but they need a lot more connection between Bullets and fans to really bring this in a bit more, which
Yeah.
I think they're missing a bit. Did anyone dress up for New Year's? I didn't
No,
see
I-
anyone dress up for New
no,
Year's
I
because they
didn't.
did say wear your dress up for New Year's, wear
Yeah,
your
see,
sparkle, whatever
yeah,
it was.
see, I think a couple of those have come out a little bit late. I missed the Halloween stuff for dressing up for that. I didn't
Yeah.
think I had time to have a costume ready for it, and then
And again, if
realized,
they set that standard at the start of the season and say, this is who we are, this is what we're going to do, then people will get on board with
yeah,
it.
yeah, which they had a set schedule this season, which was good. So you could just add a couple games in. So yeah, but yeah, I missed that Halloween one. I was really upset because I did actually have a costume sitting here that I could have worn that I had completely forgotten about. Yeah, I got a Popeye costume sitting here.
Oh, that would have been funny.
Yeah,
Got the bald head to go with it.
yeah.
Easy. Tick. Beautiful. We have come to the end of another episode. We got here. I won't speak too soon because I've still got to edit the podcast, but we've had no technical glitches. So we're
No,
good.
we made it. Yay.
Yeah, we made it. Thank you so much for engaging with us. We love it. We love the community that we've built. We have our group chat for Bullets Nation. You are all welcome in there. It is not a cult. We disagree consistently. I disagree with a whole bunch of people who follow Bullets Nation and consistently, amazingly engage with all of our socials. I think I've agreed with them 0.1% of the time. I don't care. I don't have to agree for you to belong. Like, it's more fun if we don't in some ways.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. So join us. It's not a scary place. It's a very happy place. Everyone's welcome. And if you want that, Bullets Nation podcast at gmail.com or hit us up on socials and I will get you hooked up in there. But until then, thank you for joining us on another episode of Bullets Nation. We will be back next Sunday with our 2-game review then. See you
Thanks,
then.
listeners. Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye.
From the river city under bright skies, where the hustle and heart always rise. One team, one voice, we're giving our all. Feel the rush, hear the crowd, Bullets Nation. We're strong and loud. From the river city under bright skies, where the hustle and heart always rise. One team, one voice, we're giving our all. Feel the rush, hear the crowd, Bullets Nation. We're strong and I'm all for you. Bullets Nation, we're strong and loud. I'm all for you. We're strong and loud. We're strong and loud. We're strong and loud. Bullets Nation, we're strong and loud.